Hi, welcome to our next episode of Behind the Pass. I'm Rich.
And I'm Dan.
It's just the two of us again today.
Aye, yep.
This episode, we're going to work through a few questions that I've picked up through comments.
Yeah.
And people have told us face to face. So let's go straight at it. And have you had a good week, by the way?
Yeah. It's just, I think all the weeks merge together, don't they, to be fair? Like, just good weeks and bad weeks, yeah.
Just becomes a blur.
Yeah.
Like my days off are usually Monday, Tuesday, so Sunday is my tie-off day.
That's your Friday for everyone else.
Yeah. Get all my paperwork done.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lad who I work with called Joe. We usually tie off all of a Sunday, paperwork, orders, all done and dusted. So Mondays are fresh.
Yeah.
And hopefully boss walks in, happy, everything's clean, and we're good to go.
Oh, well, I wish people do that for me. I literally get them coming up to me.
You had the opportunity to employ me.
I know, I would.
And you
drop them and I told you that.
Fucking pied me.
So I didn't fucking fire you. COVID happened, that would have bastard, that would have. We were literally signing contracts at that time.
Yeah. So, first question.
Oh,
let's do it.
Yes.
Worst injury you've ever seen?
Oh,
it does say worst injuries, so there can be more than one if you have more.
I've seen some belters, like, mandolins and stuff like that. Your slices, your meat slices and stuff like that, where your tips of fingers come off. I've seen people chop ends of the fingers off. Someone fell back into a stock pan once. That was a bit of a bad one. Do you know one of the ones that were probably the most fearful for me? As in, it shook me a bit. What a lad that we worked with, he was epileptic, and he dropped down.
Yeah,
and we used to have it sounds really bad, but when he dropped quite a lot, and he'd just go jet black, and he'd shed violently.
Did I work with this kid?
Yeah, you know him. You know him, don't you?
Yeah.
And he once did it, and he'd come in, he was shouting, Dan, 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 and he'd banged his head, and I'd moved everything out of the area, and I took my jacket off and I put it between my legs. I was trying to, stop his head, and he was violently hitting about because he was having a right big old fit. And I was trying to mentally count because we had a rule of over 30 seconds and it's hospital jobber.
Yeah.
It got about a minute and he hadn't stopped.
Yeah.
And I was twitching.
Yeah. It's scary shit to see, actually.
The oxygen's gone and you don't know what they're going to be like. And, you just think, I need counselling for this now. And he gets up next day, he's like, all right, mate.
Yeah.
It's like normal to him. But yeah, he was cut bad. He was foaming blood at the mouth. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
He had a few bad ones, but
I've heard once you come out of an epileptic fit, that it's like running a marathon in a minute,
but with no training.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's a scary thing.
I have dealt with that as well quite a lot.
Yeah, with the same guy. It's scary. No, he's a lovely guy, but my God, that's scary.
From what I've seen as well, that guy is excelling.
Yeah,
he's in a different country. He's nailing it. Apparently, he's head chef.
You joking?
Yeah. And he's doing really well for himself.
Oh, amazing. Turn my hat off to that because he would he needed opportunity. He was such a nice kid.
Oh, yeah.
He was just dopey as shit. But he was just a nice guy. I'm happy for that. Really
he's absolutely nailed it.
Amazing.
So there were two actual incidents and one near miss. My first one was when you freeze carpaccio, and you put it into meat slicer, take a bit of cling film off front roll, put it into meat slicer, and then you go down the blade, don't you? With it has like a holster,
a safety guard.
Yeah, but because carpaccio is quite, I think it will beef carpaccio. Basically, what that is it's raw meat rolled. It's covered in peppercorns and mustard and sealed.
I've got to say it's seal and shave. We have to legally say that.
and then we put it in freezers, one giant sausage log. And then what we do is we take the cling film off. It's in a perfect circle. And then we put it on the meat slicer and get it as thin as possible. So I saw this kid one day, I'm not going to name any names, take his cling film off, get it on the meat slicer. But because the teeth that drop down into the meat ruins the meat. He left the teeth up and used his hand to press down on the meat as he pushed it. So literally, as he's pushing the meat, his hand slipped down because it's frozen as well and it's wet. His hand slipped down, went all the way down the carpaccio and took it, like if you look at your finger dead on, finger up, he took half of his finger off.
Oh, that's a slice.
Oh, it was a belter.
That's
you know
bad.
when you look at things and you think, oh my God, that is absolutely fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
It were up there. Like, to the point where I know what to do in any situation in regards to first aid. Yeah. I'm pretty good at it, I'm not going to lie.
You are.
But when I saw that shit, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? It was horrendous. So I think we had to wrap it together and then send him to hospital. My second one were I was working at a pub just by where you worked when I first started out as a commie, and this were me, this. And an old pub did loads of carveries, but on a Saturday they did all veg prep downstairs in basement for the Sunday lunch, and I think I was prepping the cabbage. So as I were taking hearts out of cabbage, cutting them in half and straight up slicing them, and I went through the tip. So if you look at your fingernail, I took half of my finger off, and it honestly it's grown back. But that was a touching cloth moment.
That's one thing you can always tell when you see a chef's hands and you look at the flat fingers.
When they've got a curve on
you
the
look
finger.
at your fingers and you go, yeah, I've got pretty much flat fingers. Like, most of my fingers are flat.
I took the tip of my finger off, and I'm number one, I'm amazed that it's still there and grown back or whatever. And number two, I never did that mistake again.
No.
And the third one is when I was in college. And now in college it was great because they really encourage people with disabilities to work in the industry. Yeah. So they get people in, coach them, obviously get them in chef whites, make sure they're suited and booted and they've got the skills to go out and support people in the industry. Now there was this young girl, obviously I don't want to out people's disabilities, but she was chopping carrots and onions on one board, but she didn't have her hand as a protective guy, the crab method.
Yeah.
And she wasn't using the blade. She literally had a hand holding the veg, but using the knife like a cleaver, like slamming into it. And honestly, if I hadn't stopped her, she'd have cut her hand off. I swear to God, the next swing would have taken a thumb and a finger off.
But talking of losing fingers, I worked at a place, and this is horrific. This is the thing is we know about, if you're going to cut yourself, you want a sharp knife.
Oh yeah,
because it'll heal quicker, and it's almost like ripping Band-Aid off. Just take the end of the thing.
It's weird, isn't it? How you say that you want a sharp knife if you're going to cut.
It's a cleaner cut, innit? You're going to get less infection. It's going to heal quicker. Yeah. I think sometimes if you've got a blunt knife and you hit it, it's the bruising that hurts more than the cut.
Yeah.
So if you bruise around the cut, then it's just horrible.
Yeah.
So that's why I like my knife sharp, razor sharp. So if I cut myself, at least I know it's going to heal quick because it's not going to bruise.
Yeah.
Worked with a guy, and he was hacking away at a piece of bacon. It was a cooked piece of bacon, and he was making it for a chicken Caesar salad. And it was bacon on it, and he took 2 chomps into it, and as he did, he came on 2 different angles on his thumb. First one hit in, didn't go through. As he pulled up to the second one, he'd not felt the first one yet. Boom, took end of his thumb off in 2 angles, like a gumball.
Belter.
And he literally went drip white, fell backwards, blood squirting everywhere. I grabbed hold of his thumb, lifted it above his heart, and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell do I even do here? All blood, I was covered in blood. And he's gone drip white because he was just a bit like, oh my, he was, didn't like blood. He was young to the game, very young to the game. And next thing, one of the lads that was working with me didn't notice what had gone on, saw he were on the floor, thought he were messing about, walked over, picked up the entire thing and chucked it on the salad.
Oh.
Yeah. And where they're screaming,
did he
get
stop
that fucking salad back. got to the table before we pulled it back. No one ate it.
Yeah.
But it literally got that far because we're trying to deal with a situation. He's carried on not knowing what's going on. When I've cottoned on what's going on, I might get that fucking dish back. Can you imagine that complaint on TripAdvisor?
It's funny, like, I once...
1.5 thumbs up.
I was 1.5 thumbs, yeah. It's funny, though, like, just a side note to that. You know, when you're in A&E, like with your kids or something like that, or something's happened, and you're in normal gear, like trackies and whatever, and you look over and you see a chef in corner, like, and you think, what have you fucking done? Aye.
See, I thought, I can't remember if you were at college at the time when I went to hospital from college, and it were not to do with chefing. I had a collapsed lung in the middle of service one of the nights, and I forget, I was trying to get changed, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to go like this because it's a bit of a shit excuse to go with a collapsed lung in a chef jacket. So I'm trying to get my clothes on, could not get changed. Ambulance came and took me.
Yeah.
But I was proper. I was in hospital for a week with that.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's not a kitchen incident, so I can't really class it.
No, you can, I think.
All right, collapsed lung.
Stress.
Yeah.
Okay, that's worse injuries.
Some beauties.
Yeah. Next question. Brexit and the kitchen. Ooh. I think this is from my mate Andy again. Andy Parker, yeah.
Cracking questions.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's tinted glasses when it comes to Brexit. I think when we look at the value of things at face value, like I don't think it affects us that much.
No.
But when you delve deep into it, like, for example, when we buy milk, right, we buy it in big boxes. We call them Purgles.
Yeah.
Now, the milk wasn't difficult to get. The bag that goes inside the box that holds the milk was stopped through customs. So basically, we had thousands of gallons of milk, thousands of the stuff, but nothing to put it in.
Yeah.
So because it got stopped through the Brexit borders and the processing procedure. So I don't think personally it hasn't impacted me and my cooking, but it has made it difficult in random shit that you don't think about, like the bags. Couldn't get them, so we couldn't get milk. But yeah, you've got thousands of gallons of milk just going off because you've not to put the shit in.
Yeah, they're just like throwing all this produce away because I can't do it with it.
Yeah.
It's crap when you think about it.
And the only other thing that's made it difficult is poultry. Obviously, quite a lot of birds come from Hungary and stuff like that.
Poland are a massive output of them.
And beef, red meat as well. It's hiked up in price.
Do you know it went up 7% last week?
Well,
just in 1 week, 7%
really?
in a week.
What's that, red meat?
Yeah,
beef.
7. I couldn't believe it when they told me and told me.
I know chicken's gone up 5% as it stands. I don't know when this podcast is released. I don't know what what it's at now, but just the pricing's gone horrendous.
Yeah.
Now, what I think people don't understand out there is that obviously when we create a dish, I like to use the 1 to 5 method. The easiest thing. Costs you £1, goes on your menu for £5.
Yeah.
Probably a bit more. That's my easiest way. Thought process.
Your GP plus your VAT.
Yeah, obviously it goes into an algorithm where it
we're
does
not just pulling figures out there. But that's
just off the top of your head, when you're looking at, when Fishman says, "Oh, I've got sardines at £1 a kilo," or whatever.
Yeah.
You working out in your head. Yeah. So obviously, like when things go up, the price on a menu has to go up, or if your menus are set, that's when it gets difficult, I think. Let's say you have a menu and it's costed out with a chicken dish on it. Chicken fillet, let's say, nice and simple, right? And it's £15 on your menu. And then all of a sudden, Brexit hits, your prices go up 20%, but you can't just slap another 20% onto your menu.
No, you've got to
take the hit,
haven't you?
Yeah.
Which people don't get that when they're coming in and going, "Why am I paying so much for a burger?" You go,
"Yeah."
If you know how much things cost, like you can go and get a smart price one from Asda if you want.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to be like what we're getting because we wouldn't buy that meat. We're buying the good stuff, but it's going to cost more money to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the appreciation of things cost a lot more now.
So, just to summarise, I don't actually think Brexit has hit us like you think. I think it's hit in different ways that you don't really think of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's affected me on being able to get certain produce that I would have normally to get, say, twice a week.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to get that kind of stuff now. So you kind of, in one respect, there's a lot of positives that you could take from it, as in you want to try and get locally sourced, so you're trying to get as close to your property as possible.
I know, but you say locally sourced, just to stop you. I go through 400 chicken breasts a week.
Yeah, you haven't got a farm round the corner of your thing that's going to make them.
There's nowhere in Britain that can churn out that.
No.
And obviously I work for a big hotel brand. So if you've got all 10,000 hotels smacking out 400 chicken breasts a day, and you're talking some serious numbers. And our infrastructure just cannot deal with it.
I can tell you a story about years ago, a company that I was helping out years ago, and they was getting turkeys from Bernard Matthews, and he had to email the entire company and went, okay, I'm sorry, but I kind of oversold how much I could get you. So I'm giving you notice of a week, and there'll be no more turkeys.
Oh, really?
So literally an entire company, a well-established company, was told, you've got a week to find a new supplier.
Wow.
And the stuff they were getting in was it was Brazilian, but it was...
Yeah.
Do you know the dodgy import way where they put a peppercorn on it, send it to the Netherlands, take the peppercorn off and then bring it into England?
Because it classes
it's a prepared meal.
Yeah.
It's dodgy, innit?
So most just for people out there, most turkeys come from Argentina. Now, to stop paying tax on it, they put a little bit of pepper on it.
So peppercorn on it, literally don't affect it.
The vacuum pack it, they ship it over to like France, Netherlands, take the peppercorn off, wash it, re-vat pack it, and sell it as a tax product.
Because it's coming to the EU then.
And that's how they make the money and dodge tax. But anyway, just out in massive poultry companies.
We're going to have chuffing that Argentinian mafia afters in a minute. Poultry farmers kicking off.
If you end up on a slab next week,
it's
my fault.
I'll be sat in a roundabout in Gas City Centre with a chuffing made on my kneecaps.
Yeah. How did Dan die? Because we outed a turkey supplier.
Yeah, want to Pablo and Chicken.
So end of the day, Brexit shafted us, but a little by little.
Yeah, you've got to try and see the positives in what happened.
Yeah. Ironically, the next question is, how have food imports, staff shortages, and regulations changed since Brexit? I feel like we've covered most of that.
Staff shortages, I can certify right now that it has really affected with what you can get in, mainly because people just think you're racist, and we're not. And they do that, don't they? When they look and they go kitchen porters, and they'll go, "You don't want a Polish kitchen porter?" Yeah, I do. I don't care where you're from. I just want someone that's a good worker, that's going to work and graft. The nationality does not make a person. Like,
no,
the person makes a person. But I feel as if the stigma of, the English people don't want us here has really ruined it for us. And I don't think people have got understood that in our industry that we're in, hospitality, it's very diverse. So,
oh my God, if you go into our kitchen, there's 2 English lads.
Yeah.
The rest of them are, there's Indian, African. Do you know what I mean?
But it makes for more of a diverse kitchen, which I enjoy.
Oh yeah.
I've learned different languages, mainly swear words, because it's fun. But you have a lot of fun with people, and just for knowing where people grew up, what they do different. There's no other industry that I can think of that you would have that much multicultural experiences.
Yeah.
And it rattles me that people have really taken that standpoint of English people must be racist when we're not at all.
So there is a question, but it were the last one, which I feel like that'll lay on to the last question, which is unsung heroes. This isn't the last question, but I feel like after what you've just said, unsung heroes then. I do feel like you can, when you look at your team, they are. I personally think when you look at a chef, there's a new kid, new commie walks in, you either got it or you haven't. I'm sorry, I know it's brutal, but it's either one or other.
Do you know a way of telling it is, if you tell them, I don't think you're going to make it, you'll see either the defeated and they'll go, I'm not going to fucking bother, it's fucking doing this. Or they're going to go, I'll prove this dickhead wrong. And I want everyone to try and prove us wrong. I'd rather them come in and go, I'll fucking show you. Because there's no worse than working with people that are just there for cashing in and don't give a shit and they don't know what they're doing.
So, I do actually know a couple of guys, and I'm not going to out them, I do actually know a couple of guys throughout my time who never wanted to be chefs, ever. They don't like being chef, but yet can perform and execute dishes like a chef. Like, same like me, you know, when I've been passionate and I've been, you know, balls deep and in focused, making amazing dishes. These people have stood side by side me.
But there's just passion's not there. It's just a job.
It's just a job. But just imagine though having that pure skill to not even want to be a chef.
It pisses me off royally when you look at someone and you think
the fucking raw talent.
So well.
Oh my god!
And do you know when you're showing them something and they've just got the natural ability to do something? It rattles me when they don't do something with it. Because I'm not gonna blow it on, but we're good. Like, there's no way around it. We are. We know what we're doing. And when you put time and effort into people, and you see that they've got it but they don't use it, it rattles me something wrong.
But my close mate as well, he has his same theory, raw talent, like he's just fucking brilliant at it. But he just, I don't know, he just don't want it. But
it's not for everyone though, is it? It's not for everyone, and if it pays the bills and he can do it.
And you know, he's really good with his family, he's zoned in, loves his kids, you know, he's a proper family guy, you know, and hats off to him, like he can snap in and out of what he needs to be, that guy. And I appreciate it. So that I think they're the unsung heroes. And also these people, like, I'm currently working with, you know, a lot of up and coming chefs as it stands, because I think when COVID hit, you know, it depleted. We lost a lot of people that didn't want to be chefs. I think they finally made the bed, and you know they've laid in it. So these new up and coming chefs that are coming through, and I think they're starting to make an impact now. I just think it's difficult for them. Like, they've decided, you know, they've worked at these little pubs, you know, and they thought, right, COVID's it, I want to take it to the next level. They're walking into these massive kitchens, which have just been torn apart by COVID, you know, and just expected to perform. And it is my fault, you know, and other people's, and I'm sure there are other head chefs and sous chefs around there that have this expectation, because honestly, if I employ you as a chef de partie, you're doing a chef de partie role. I ain't fucking coaching you. You know, you're paid to do a job. I will coach you to an extent. I'll coach you to perform at that company for what I need you to do. But as a general chef de partie, you do need to cook and know how to execute things.
That is the biggest thing of the amount of people that come through that aren't chef de parties, but it's like a starting point for people now, and it rattles me. But they're not.
I do appreciate these young lads or lasses who are coming into kitchens and thinking, right, I'm going to fucking go for this. And I think they sit into their unsung hero category.
I'd take a strong commie over a weak chef de partie any day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think for me, an unsung hero, do you know what? Don't get a lot of credit. It's the old timers that are passing on the information. So you get an old schooler that comes in and they know what they're talking about, and they've been around the block a few times. They might know what the quick is, they might not know the new stuff, but they can prep. You get the old ones that can prep. And I think that sometimes it goes a little bit unnoticed because they normally just get panned off as a pot washer or kitchen porter, or you've got or just an assistant or a breakfast chef or whatever it may be. You think sometimes it can be such a waste of talent that's still there, and they don't want it anymore because they're over it, but they don't mind passing it on.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think that's. But how long? How long is too long? When is it for a chef just to say, I'm done? Like, can you do it? Can you do it in your 50s? I know. Usually, when you exceed your role, you go into sous chef, head chef roles where you do take a step back. It's more paperwork side, but when you're on the line doing 12-hour shifts, 15, 16-hour shifts, and you're actually cooking on the line, where does it stop? That's what I want to know. Could I keep being a sous chef on the pass till I'm 50 years old? I don't know. And that's my biggest question.
Yeah.
And I do look at when I was a commie and I was looking at these old blokes in the 50s slamming out services for 300, 400 covers at 2 rosette standard.
Yeah.
I now look back and think, how the fuck did you do that? How?
Different breed.
You had no Red Bull, nothing. Yeah. It's not as if they had none of them were taking drugs or anything like that. Like it, just raw. Like
I just think that sometimes people are built different. Like a lot of new people that I don't want to slag people off, but the new people that come through, that either got it or they haven't, and you can't tell them. Like you can't say you shit because they'll run off to HR. But everything that I got told and everything that I got with me is now like dying because it's just basically you can't be as brutally honest as you should be because you kind of got to be. You've got to have them. You've got to look after people's feelings, which I get them. The health side of it as a mental health, I get that's a big thing coming out of what we've been through. But the way that we were trained, it's hard to break it's hard to break that of that's what we know because that's what we were told. That's what we got trained by.
Yeah,
it's like things being thrown at us. We've had that before many a time. Where you think,
God, the amount of shit
I don't want to be doing that to people. But then again, you think that made me better when I got that thrown at me. Or when I got shouted off something I didn't even do. There's no
worse than stood on sauce and then a lamb rumpet in the inside at fucking head because it's overcooked. But yeah, I get that.
The scallop when it hit me inside it. Well, the first one missed me. The second one didn't. It was just that moment of
And this is why I think coaching is really important in this day and age. Start to finish, you need to be solid, quality coaching,
firm but fair.
Yeah, but yeah, so that tails off Unsung Heroes, I think.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's do it. It's like question time, innit? I need a red clipboard.
This is your life.
Yeah, it literally is. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the modernisation of traditional pub classics like fish and chips, steak and ale pie, and other old school?
So, on a coin flip, this I want a knife edge. I can see that my head tells me it's a classic. Don't fuck with it. It's a classic for a reason.
No, I'm saying,
but
no,
that's how new dishes are made. So, for me, when someone makes a fish and chips, for example,
there's no way you can tell me you can change fish and chips.
No, but I mean, you can do something a bit different with it. You can, like, for example, I've seen a place that I was at, and there was buying vinegar powder and then swapping the salt. So it was salt solution and vinegar powder. So it was swapping the way around your salt and pepper goes on, or your salt and vinegar goes on. And it's a little bit of a theatre. It's a little bit of pissing about, but I don't know. It's messing with a classic, but in a good way.
No, I'm sorry.
See, I was on the line. I was thinking, who's putting vinegar powder on this? Until I tasted it and thought, I get it. I get it. But if someone says to me, you're having liver and onions, I'm having liver and onions. I'm not having like this, like, I'm not having like a poached liver with like a different, I'm not having like bacon that's been dehydrated for 9 years and then left inside a tomb, and then I'm not having that kind of shit.
But you've just gone against what?
No, because this is what I'm saying. I'm on the line with it because I get that things have to change, but there's certain things that I look at and think, I don't want to mess with that. I'll tell you a little thing that rattled me about this. So, the classics, coq au vin, classic.
So you can't. Why would you want to fuck with that?
Beef bourguignon, classic.
Burger con.
Bourguignon.
Burger
Beef
con.
bourguignon.
It's French, you fuck.
It's classic.
Yeah.
Right? I saw them two dishes as like nice dishes that was just like, if you have them on a menu, they're going to sell. They're beautiful.
Mm.
I had a chef that was unfortunately part of my team at the time I inherited.
Mm.
And the difference between them two dishes, one had chicken in, one had beef in. Exactly the same apart from that.
But the two.
That's fucking with a classic.
Yeah.
In a bad way.
Yeah, but that hasn't been taught properly, though, has it? That's training.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah, I inherited that, though. You remember, I inherited that shit.
But that's not the dishes problem. That's a training previous. But what I'm trying to say is, when I sit at home and think, I want fish and chips, and I go out and I get fish and chips, I'm happy because that's what I want.
Yeah.
Or a steak pie. Do you know what I mean? You go to a pub, you get a steak pie, and it's not been fucked with. It's a steak pie as you envision it.
Yeah.
If somebody put some pie mix in a bowl and a fucking lid on top of it, I think I've been screwed over here.
Fucking scumbags.
And that's what I think.
So I get that.
I think that's what the question is.
That I wouldn't actually say that to you. If you're going to get a steak pie, has it got pastry all the way around it?
Well, yeah, of course it has. It's a pie.
Yeah. So the amount of times I've seen it where they go, "Oh, we baked a crust pie on top of it."
But I'm going to
and you go, "Nah."
I'm going to contradict myself. When I've made pies in the past, I'm that arsehole who's put a lid on it.
In a circumstance, I would imagine.
Yeah.
As in, I need 300 pies.
Yeah.
300 pies, and I fucked up. All right, no worries, I'll put a pie lid on. Yeah, I'll cut them out, put them on weddings, functions, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Different type of cooking to what, if you're going to make a beef pie that you want to serve, you'd make it properly.
So my answer to that question is no, don't fuck with a classic. You can sit on the fence all you want.
I'm sitting on the fence because I don't want to fuck with the classics, but
you can shove your vinegar powder up your ass.
I just want people to look at food and still have that thing of going, oh, what if I tried this? You can try it, but I don't know. It's a really hard question, is that? I feel as if classics are classics for reasons. Like a prawn cocktail will always have my rose, but there's nothing wrong with putting a bit of avocado with it. Like,
yeah,
it's that thing of finding a balance of what's the terminology you use? It's like classic cookery with modern twists.
Yeah,
as long as it's not like dehydrating some fucking ackee and saltfish down for a Jamaican fish and chips, something stupid like that.
Digressing though, I am going to digress away from this topic because what you were saying there, I do think an untapped resource that we spent so long looking at French cuisine, like the fats, the salts, all that malarkey. Now, I think we spent so long focusing on French, Italian, British cuisine. I think Japanese have sussed it 50 years before we even looked at it.
And then we're playing catch up now.
Honestly, I think Japanese have nailed it.
Well, as soon as I started bringing stuff out and you look and you go, like they're making that kimchi and all that stuff, and you look and you go, well.
But they've been doing this shit for 200 years.
Exactly.
Longer.
And they've kept it a good secret.
Yeah.
But that's a classic, would you fuck with it?
But no. Because it's ingrained, the umami, the salt, acid, heat, whatever, sweetness, it's ingrained in all of their foods. Yeah. You can't fuck about with soy sauce. It's made, it's fermented, and it's seasoned in barrels.
Yeah.
Like, you can't mess with it. And that's why I think Japanese have nailed it. And they're almost regimental, as if to say, I've made this perfect. Like the melons that go for absolutely fortune.
Oh, the ones that grow in perfection.
Like, they have, though, they've perfected that melon to say to you, you can't fuck with this.
Yeah.
You eat this melon, just eat it.
Yeah.
Same with them them big strawberries.
Yeah.
They come all like wrapped and bowed
six in a box for like $4,000.
Yeah. But and that's why I appreciate them, because they've made them strawberries I don't know what they've done genetically, but they're perfect. Yeah. So you can't fuck with that. You're not going to start chopping them up and start putting sugar in and making a compote out. Yeah. And that's why
I'll just blitz it down for a cooler.
Yeah,
it's a fuck on that.
And that's why I think we should take a leaf out of Japanese book. Don't fuck with it. It's already a quality product. Fish and chips. Some poor bastard invented that dish. It were perfect when it were made. Don't piss about with it.
Yeah.
So after digressing, I still say don't fuck with classics.
I don't want to fuck with it, but I don't want to stop people playing.
Are you still sat on fence?
Yeah, because I don't want people to stop thinking.
For the first time ever, we agree to disagree.
Can you see my point?
I do get your point.
That's all I'm saying is I wouldn't ever put a fish and chips in a chuffing hot air balloon or something stupid to serve at your table. Because that's just stupid.
That is ludicrous, yeah.
But I wouldn't kick off if someone wanted to try it because it's just something different. Do you know what I mean? I don't want people to stop trying things because that's how we get new things. But yeah, if I say on a menu you're having steak and ale pie, I would expect steak and ale pie. I wouldn't expect stupid different types of pastry and different cuts of beef. Just give me steak and ale pie.
Last question, and I'm going to throw you off guard as well because this wasn't on our brief.
Yeah,
and I know we haven't got long left. Foie gras. I know it's a biggie. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
right.
I do.
Very inhumanely done. I mean, if
you
were
better now,
no,
slightly.
You can't be better. It's made in one process. So for anybody out there who's interested in foie gras,
Google it. No, don't.
Google it.
Yeah, don't.
No, it's videos. The only way to see it is to Google it.
Yeah.
Now it is very horrendously, inhumanely made.
Yeah.
Now, 10 years ago, I loved it, but maybe I were, how would I say, in denial. Yeah, I knew how it was made.
Yeah,
but I just didn't accept it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I do think when we look at ingredients, you sometimes don't look.
Yeah, you like to trace it back to a certain point.
Yeah.
You just don't want to see how people do stuff.
Yeah, maybe with foie gras, you trace it back to packaging, that's it.
Yeah. It's like a cow. You see them stroking it in the field, the next thing is on your plate. You don't want to see that process of the stuff.
So let's see how humane you are, Dan.
Yeah.
Right now, as we sit here talking, foie gras, should it be banned?
No. Absolutely not.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
So I don't see. I know it's bad. I know that people like all these.
You are going to piss. Whatever's going to come out of your mouth now, you're going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah. So
I would stop talking.
No, but I need to say it. I've had instances before with. I'm going to use this very lightly. Greenpeace people, like tree huggers and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
They've come out and been spot checking on a premise I worked at because they saw it was on a menu. When they got there and started trying to pick it at the line, and we said, "You haven't been on for like 5-6 years, so you picked up all menus. It's not even on the menu," and it wasn't on the menu. At that point, though, we were still buying it for the owner, not for us to use, because he used to like making his roast potatoes in foie gras every Sunday.
If that ain't posh, I don't know what
it is. Proper posh. And do you know what? I tasted them, and there's no going back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I use foie gras. I'm not going to lie. I use it. I get it. I have it. I made some brioche the other day with foie gras brioche just to try it, and it was fucking delicious. And I once fully cooked a prestigious people's dinner, and I did fillet steak and I poached it in foie gras. It's when you do it right, it's like butter. But this is a thing. This is a thing that people don't know, like how lobster, foie gras, veal, venison, all these things are kind of sorted, how they're done or where they come from, or they don't understand the backstory of all of it, which is frustrating when people order it, but they don't actually know what they're doing. Like they don't know what they're actually getting. It is irritating when?
I'm going to say no to foie gras.
Really?
I think, yeah.
After years of eating it?
After years of eating it, years of loving it and enjoying it, I think it's run its course. I think.
What's the turning point for you, though? What was the turning point for you? Because there must have been a point where you looked and thought, I don't want to eat that anymore.
I just think when we were like cutthroat chefs, like we didn't really give a shit. We were always looking at the best product to give to the customer. Where now I think it does have to be monitored ethically. What we do, everything has to be sourced perfectly. There is a lot of vegans, vegetarians, a lot of people with dietary requirements out there that now have to be looked after. So I do think we have to be a little bit more ethical on how we look and produce food. Like salmon. Can you remember like 5 years ago where salmon were nearly on its arse?
Yeah.
Like, the only place you could get salmon where it had to be farmed.
Yeah.
On just outskirts of Norway and Faroe Islands. So I just think we've farmed it to death, really. So I just think, things just need to be thought about, the processes and how we do things. It's just, I think foie gras had its day.
There's ethical source foie gras.
There isn't. There's no way you can make.
They do it because they say that there's no... poultry don't really have the sensation of full. So they're saying that is, as long as if it eats it itself, it's fine. So they're doing ethically sourced ones where it just eats. It's more like
just
grain. It's like corn fed. It's like corn fed. It's like corn fed chicken. Do you know when you get like an inflamed liver from that? So all it is like a corn fed.
Okay. But okay.
I still like eating it. I know it's probably wrong, but I'm very. I just like the taste of it. I think it's a really nice ingredient to use.
Yeah, listen. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think there's better things out there that we can use.
Yeah, there is. But it's like, well, when people are using, like I said there, for example, using it on a roast potato. What do you feel like duck fat? I think a duck fat roaster is a good.
Oh yeah,
it's a good roaster because you get the fats off the beef, you get the fats off the duck. As long as I'm hypocritical. I like eating foie gras. I know.
Yeah, I know.
It's not an everyday. It's not an everyday thing, but it's hard to get hold of. So if I get
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, if I get it, I will, but I can't.
Maybe veggies have done us a favour.
Yeah.
So that's as Q&As for this week. We hope you have enjoyed this episode, and honestly, we really do appreciate the questions that you guys put to us. We really appreciate your feedback as well. As I've always said at the start of these episodes, it's always a learning curve. We're always trying new things. This isn't a thing for us. Like I said, we're chefs. All we do is cook, and we're good at cooking, but we're not good at anything else, so this is new to us.
Yeah.
So if anybody's got out any pointers or anything, we are not going to say no. We'll take your criticism. We do love your feedback. So we hope
give us some questions. Give us some more questions because these questions are brilliant.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff gets you proper thinking on it and enjoy it.
So we hope you have a good week, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.